On the eve of the extreme cold apocalypse, I picked up a stupid and vicious fake daughter. When buying food, she looked around pickily. I can't let them make a joke out of me. Even in the bedroom, I must maintain my dignity. Eating her former favorites, I gave her a knock on the head. How many meals can red wine and Wagyu beef last? Add 10 tons of cabbage and 20 tons of pork and beef when buying clothes. She waved her hand grandly. I used to only wear silk pajamas and evening gowns. At night, I grabbed her and shook the water out of her brain. It's minus 50 degrees. Do you want your legs amputated? Buy 50 sets of winter coats and padded pants. Later, when we bumped into the true daughter and her cheap parents, she was wrapped up like a dumpling, roasting sweet potatoes with me. Damn. The scariest part is, I realized I was just a cannon fodder in a doomsday novel. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the eve of the extreme cold. In my past life, all supplies were bought out by the city's richest man. Thinking of this makes me sweat with anger. I originally wanted to take a shower first, but as soon as I opened the door, the floor was covered in water. I looked up and saw that the snow outside was too heavy. The temperature was so low that it cracked the bathroom window. I hurried to find something to block it. Then I had a brilliant idea. I took out the sanitary pad I've always been using. It's ultra thin and highly absorbent. I stuck it on the window, and it instantly expanded to seal the gap. Its super suction quickly absorbed the melting snow. I picked up the pad and looked closely, only then did I realize. This pad has tens of thousands of breathable micropores and a quick dry surface. It keeps things dry without hindering daily life. It's only 0.1 centimeter thick. Even through the tiniest gaps, every drop of water can be firmly locked in. So I took out a few more pieces and placed them on the floor. The water on the floor was instantly sucked dry. I definitely need to buy more of these when I go hoarding later, but here's the problem. How do I hoard supplies without money? What's the first thing you do after rebirth? Taking out predatory online loans, of course. You don't expect me to go get revenge on the richest man right now, do you? I can't afford to mess with the evil capitalist class yet. But can't I strike first? I ruthlessly borrowed millions, and as soon as the money arrived, I got ready to head out. In 3 days, the temperature will plummet to sub-zero. Everything will be swept empty by Mr. Fu. I only have 3 days to stockpile for myself. But the moment I rushed out the door, I tripped over something. A bad start. I got up and took a closer look. A girl with disheveled hair, wearing gorgeous clothes with an expensive aura, was lying beautifully on the ground. I shuddered in fright, thinking it was a scammer. What normal person wears a short skirt and sleeps on the curb in minus 10-degree weather? But if I leave her alone and she freezes to death, what if her ghost comes back to haunt me? The girl was kicked awake by me. She jumped up with a painful yelp, looking fierce. You commoner. How dare you kick me? Do you know who I am? You don't. Hey Emph. You're lucky to have run into me. Reach at me $50 and I'll let you in on my revenge plan before she could finish. She let out an earth-shattering sneeze. Are scammers really this abstract nowadays? I was in a hurry to hoard supplies and couldn't be bothered with an idiot. But before I could take 2 steps, I was forced to stop. She grabbed my coat. On her freezing, red face, she finally showed a bit of weakness, looking like she was about to cry. I'm a rich lady. I'm freezing to death, please help me. I narrowed my eyes and examined her. She's quite pretty. Why did she go crazy at such a young age? A rich lady, huh? You look like a psycho to me. She got anxious. Her arrogant yet awkward look made her very punchable. No, I'm from the Fu family. The richest family. My name is Fu Wan, remember that. The same Fu family that hoarded global supplies in my past life. I made a prompt decision, grabbing her and pulling her into a taxi. I still remember the grudge from my past life. This time, maybe I can extort a good sum from the richest man. Once the apocalypse ends, I'll be rich. When we arrived at the wholesale market, I grabbed a random coat and threw it at her. I'm in a hurry, accompany me to buy some things first. I'll call your family to pick you up when we get back. Fu Wan's expression looked a bit unnatural. She paused, then proudly raised her chin. Hey Emph. At least you're smart enough to know you should buy me things to please me. Oh, the ignorance. Is this the true power of a spoiled lady? After a few minutes of walking, I realized no one was behind me. Just as I thought something was wrong, I heard a commotion behind me. I turned around and saw some passers-by gathered, pointing and whispering. Not far away, Fu Wan was arguing with a shop clerk. Her full outfit of luxury brands was very eye-catching. What are you doing? This place doesn't even have Hermes, Gucci, or Chanel. My image cannot be this miserable. Go call a cab and buy them yourself then. Fu Wan's arrogant attitude was instantly doused with cold water. She couldn't utter a word for a long time. I don't have money right now, but my parents will definitely regret it. And they'll search everywhere for me. You kicked me, you have to take responsibility for me. You can't just leave me here. So, after all this fuss, she was actually the stupid and vicious fake daughter. And the type that has already been kicked out of the house in the grand finale. Hey Emph. I remembered, in my previous life, right before I died, I was cursing the damned richest man's family, while intermittently listening to the radio. The Fu family seemed to have issued a brief obituary, stating that their immoral adopted daughter had tragically passed away. They stopped just short of saying serves her right. They said this girl was vicious and stupid, using cheap tricks to frame the true daughter multiple times. But every time, she ended up shooting herself in the foot. For example, she faked being pushed down the stairs, only to miss a step and fall flat on her face. For example, acting pitiful by making the true daughter sleep in the storage room, but getting caught on camera putting cockroaches in there. I didn't expect the person in question to be standing right in front of me. So, if I don't take her in, she will definitely die exactly the same way as in the last life, frozen into a popsicle on the curb outside my house. We are both victims pitted to death by the Fu family. Meeting by chance, understanding each other's pain. My resentment inexplicably faded a bit, and my sympathy for her grew. Plus, the way her eyes easily turned red, looking like she was about to cry. She looked a bit like a childhood friend of mine, like being possessed. I nodded. Okay. I'll take you in. Fu Wan froze for a moment, then immediately climbed up the pole. Hey Emph. At least you know what's good for you. I had just found a bottled water supplier and was about to order 50 barrels. Fu Wan haughtily tossed her head and bossed around the bewildered shop clerk. What year is the best red wine you have here? Do you have M12 Wagyu for the steak? For the tiramisu, I want it freshly made, the sugar content can't be too high. My figure management is very important, miss, this is a wholesale market. You need to go to the premium supermarkets in the city center for those things. A few middle-aged women nearby muttered loudly, though they thought they were being discreet. This girl. Is her brain frozen broken? Fu Wan's face flushed with anger. Do you know who I am? I quickly walked over, giving the clerk an apologetic smile. Then I turned around and gave her a knock on the head. How many meals can red wine and Wagyu beef last? Add 10 tons of cabbage, 20 tons of pork and beef, and 10 tons of canned food, plus salt, sugar, and various seasonings. Half a truckload. The clerk and the people around were stunned. Even Fu Wan forgot to be angry. She looked at me with her mouth wide open. Someone started whispering, buying so much. Who are they? Wait, isn't that the fake daughter? From the richest man's family? Didn't she embarrass them and get kicked out? Why is she still out here showing off? By the way, do they have money to pay? Fu Wan's face stiffened, looking at a loss. Her previous arrogance was gone, and she subconsciously hid behind me. I'm opening a restaurant. This is the new nanny I just hired. I have plenty of money, no need for you all to worry. I flashed my bank balance. The clerk and passersby went silent. Fu Wan grumbled softly in dissatisfaction. But she still clung to my clothes like a frightened quail. I won't hold it against you for hitting me just now. Besides, who wants to be your nanny? Yes, 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 whatever you say. The next day, buying winter clothes. Fu Wan thought she had entered her familiar territory. She confidently walked into the clothing store, looking at the military coats, padded pants, and thick cotton shoes hanging there. Her face showed undisguised disgust. What is all this? The fabric is rough, the style is outdated. Do you have silk pajamas? Preferably custom-made. And I need some light luxury-style trench coats. To pair with my thermal fleece tights, the shop owner was an honest auntie. Hearing this, she just laughed. Girl, are you here to crash my shop? I couldn't take it anymore, grabbed her neck and shook her. I could almost hear the water sloshing in her brain. Wearing silk in sub-zero weather? Fleece tights? Do you want your legs amputated? Winter coats, extra thick padded pants, snow boots, give me 50 sets of each, with no room left to show off. She just stood on the side, bored out of her mind, occasionally sneezing. I threw a set of clothes at her. A carefully matched cotton jacket, padded pants, earmuffs, and snow boots. It didn't look bulky on her, but added a touch of playful liveliness. She looked a bit sluggish, like she encountered a problem beyond her comprehension. I naturally helped her adjust her collar. Did no one at home teach you how to match appropriate clothes for different weather? They never bought me these. They always just gave me a black card, saying that things don't have to be practical, just expensive. Only then can we highlight our noble status. To separate us from ordinary people, so what's your thought on ordinary people's clothing now? She rubbed her face against the collar and touched the thick fabric. So warm. Day 3, buying energy sources, mainly coal. With the lessons from the previous 2 days, I kept a close eye on Fu Wan. She seemed eager to prove herself, holding up two fingers to the boss. Thought about it, and pulled one back. Boss, I won't mind the dirt, give me 1 ton. I pulled her aside and hastily retracted her order. Boss, give me 50 tons of smokeless coal. Deliver it to this address. I pinched her ear and whispered like a demon, you idiot. Do you know how many tons of coal an average family in the Northeast burns through in a winter? And you're acting stingy over 1 ton. Do you want to turn into a popsicle in the middle of the night? Fu Wan grimaced in pain from the pinch. But her eyes were full of defiance, still daring to glare. The boss looked at me with some difficulty. I'm sorry. Our reserves aren't enough. A customer has already paid in full to reserve our entire stock. We'd have to go restock. There's someone faster than me? My brain clicked and I blurted out, it's the Fu family, right? We're here to pick up the goods, yes, but do you have the receipt? I pushed the confused Fu Wan forward. Do we even need a receipt? This is the eldest daughter of the Fu family, coming to pick up the goods in person. Doesn't that show how much we value this order? The boss obviously didn't follow entertainment gossip, so he nodded in agreement. Of course, under Fu Wan's strong protests, I also used her family crest brooch as collateral. I shamelessly accepted a whole 100 tons of resources from the richest man's family. I was in a great mood. I patted Fu Wan's head. You're actually somewhat useful. She was just about to mourn the loss of her crest. But hearing this, she blushed bizarrely. No one has ever praised me like that before. Hey, okay. I'll praise you more in the future. She looked a bit confused. Why do you always accommodate me? but then act so fierce when buying things, because my left and right brain are fighting each other. Because there's a risk that Mr. Fu might seek revenge. I decided to keep a low profile. After the coal arrived, I filled out a new address and had it transported again. I rented a single-story house in the suburbs, far away from the city. Then I hid most of the supplies in the hidden interlayer of the basement. Only a small amount of daily necessities was kept inside the safe house. A massive amount of coal was piled in the guest bedroom we knocked through, keeping its doors and windows permanently sealed. We lived in the living room, so outsiders couldn't see the jealousy-inducing resources hidden inside. At night, we strictly managed our lights, smells, and trash, portraying the image of people barely surviving. Taking notes, I nodded in satisfaction. Fu Wan had been peeking for a while, craning her neck to see my notebook, but I quickly dodged her. What? I just want to see what you write every day. Do you have to be so guarded against me? I pushed her out to do chores. Yes, my fault. Hurry up and start the fire. Fu Wan was a standard troublemaker. I taught her how to boil frozen dumplings using a solid alcohol stove. She poured all the dumplings in before the water even boiled. Then ran off to the bathroom, completely forgetting about it, and almost blew up the kitchen. I asked her to refuel the small generator. In the blink of an eye, I heard the generator making tragic noises. I rushed over and saw her holding a bottle of cooking oil, pouring it inside. I shrieked in terror. Snatched the bottle away. This is for cooking, not for generating electricity. Do you want to scrap the machine instantly? Fu Wan looked at the black smoke billowing from the generator, trembling. I put my notebook away, took a deep breath, and began to clean up the mess. During dinner, she kept her head down like a kid who did something wrong, occasionally peeking at me. I couldn't bear it anymore. I pushed the steaming bowl of pork and pickled cabbage stew towards her. She was dumbfounded. There's only one bowl. If you give it to me, what will you eat? I'm not hungry. You eat. Fu Wan looked at the unpretentious-looking bowl of stew. Hesitated for a few seconds, then carefully took a bite. Then her eyes lit up and she started wolfing it down. It's so good! Better than steak, foie gras, and caviar. The temperature dropped even lower at night. The heated brick bed wasn't warm enough. Fu Wan was shivering like a leaf, left with no choice by her constant shivering. I grabbed her and pulled her under my blanket. The body heat of two people quickly warmed up the bed. Fu Wan's eyes were bright, shining like searchlights in the dark. This is my first time sleeping in the same bed with someone else. Since I was little, it was a luxury crib. Why are you so good to me? I yawned and spoke softly. When I was young, I had a friend. She was kidnapped when she was 5. Her parents passed away in an accident while trying to find her. And the reason she wandered off and got lost was because she fought with me over a piece of candy. You look a lot like her, so I let you have your way. It feels as if she's back, safe and sound, playing with me again. As I spoke, I fell asleep. She hugged me and said something. I actually read your notebook. I didn't say anything. I just felt a bit of wetness on my neck. This person really loves to cry. After that night, it was as if Fu Wan had a sudden enlightenment. She learned how to light a fire, cook, and even sew clothes. She could even set traps. When the grandpa next door occasionally came over, she handled the social interaction with ease. She even managed to trade a pound of pork for a couple of glasses of beer from others. On the contrary, I was a bit unaccustomed to her sudden transformation. But today, she suddenly received a phone call. Yes, at this point in time, the cell towers hadn't completely failed yet. I knew it was from her cheap parents, just as I was about to give her privacy. Fu Wan reached out and grabbed the corner of my clothes, then turned on the speakerphone. Sister. How are you doing out there? I frowned. That sounded like the voice of the true daughter. But she didn't sound like the vulgar country bumpkin Fuwan had described. Instead, there was an air of a manipulative green tea bitch. Fuwan's voice was cold. What do you want? I've already returned your family to you, I know everything. You brought someone to steal the coal we ordered, causing our reserves to run short. What do I want? How about this? Tell me the address of you and your companion. After we come and collect the resources, you can kneel down and apologize to me. Slap yourself a few times. And I might consider begging mom and dad for mercy on your behalf. To let you come back and continue being a miss, isn't this kind of thing what you used to do all the time? Even though you always ended up making a fool of yourself, ha 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 ha. Fuwan hung up the phone and tossed it aside. I didn't know what she was thinking. I took a deep breath and spoke with a dry voice. Do you want to go back? She glared at me, tears streaming down her face. What do you mean? You want to chase me away now? Let me tell you, Woo Ki-on. You picked me up, you have to take responsibility for me. Don't even think about chasing me away. She snatched the spatula from my hand like a robber and aggressively started stir-frying. She actually knows how to stir-fry now. Just yesterday, she was so scared by splattering oil
that she jumped
to meters high. Intrigued, I moved closer and heard her sobbing, muttering to herself, it's just living a hard life, right? Anyone can do it. You think I'm clumsy, you think I lack common sense. I can learn, can't I? Why did you waver just after hearing her say a few words? I felt helpless. I didn't know how to comfort her. Okay, I will never chase you away. Unless you want to leave yourself, alright? You're just brushing me off again. She neatly finished cooking a few dishes. She no longer accepted my modesty and stared at me until I finished all the food. Fuwan suddenly blurted out of nowhere, you can treat me as that childhood friend. Because you truly treat me well, the half month I've spent here has been happy and fulfilling. I want to get through this extreme cold weather together with you. I don't mind you treating me as a substitute. I was dumbfounded. Can you read fewer web novels? Not long after, the city's power was depleted. Running the generator to watch TV was too much of a luxury. We could only use an old-fashioned radio to stay in touch with the outside world. Unsurprisingly, we received a broadcast from the Fu family. They were soliciting supplies from the public. Good citizens. Our family's reserves are running low. To get through this difficult time together, we appeal to the general public to donate fuel and medicine. We promise. After the apocalypse ends, you will be heavily rewarded for lending a helping hand. As a way to give back to society, Fuwan's reaction this time was different from her usual days. She spat fiercely. What reserves running low? It's obviously because those two old geezers were wasteful and squandered it all. And they can't stand seeing other people having good things. They want to scrape all the resources from everyone into their own hands. Let's not even mention whether this damn weather will end. Even if it does, they could throw away the daughter they raised for 20 years just like that. Do you think they would honor their debts to commoners? You've become so smart, it's making me a bit unaccustomed. Although these little interludes didn't affect us much, they did convey some information. Her richest man parents and the true daughter weren't living as effortlessly as they did in my previous life. At the very least, they needed to scrape around for resources. Also, our neighbors were getting fewer and fewer, moving towards places where more people gathered. Only we remained unmoving like a mountain, which was indeed a bit suspicious. We needed to be even more low profile. Coal had to be used sparingly, though we still had about 80 to 90 tons left. It would definitely last us a year, as the temperature continued to drop. I accidentally caught a cold. Fuwan was jumping up and down in panic, wanting to carry me to the hospital. I weakly knocked her on the head. Traffic is completely paralyzed. There are no cars on the road. How are you going to take me? We just freeze to death together on the road, so she anxiously ran around asking neighbors to trade for medicine. This time, she unhesitatingly traded away her own cell phone. I was astonished. It seemed to refresh my understanding of Fuwan. It was also the first time I realized I wasn't struggling alone in this apocalypse. It was exactly at this time that the Fu family found our safe house, driving a luxury car. They were dressed glamorously. Although their complexions weren't great, they still looked much more decent than ordinary people. Meanwhile, Fuwan, covered in coal ash and wrapped up like a dumpling, was in the yard roasting sweet potatoes for me. The two groups stared at each other. Mr. Fu saw Fuwan's getup. A flash of disgust crossed his face, but he forced a loving smile. Wan. You really made us search hard for you. You've had enough fun outside, it's time to come home. Your sister said there's a lot of coal here. As long as you bring it to make amends for your mistakes, you can come home. Our family holds no overnight grudges. As for your friend, we will give her 100,000 yuans as a reward. After all, we are respectable people and don't want to drag this out. Fuwan and I exchanged a glance. We both saw the WTF in each other's eyes. Your parents are using cash to pay people off in the apocalypse? Those aren't my parents. What bad luck, and the true daughter, who Fuwan used to call a vulgar country bumpkin, was now covered in luxury brands, looking at Fuwan with a face full of triumph. Sister, listen to Dad, he really feels sorry for you. Knowing you're mixing with this kind of country bumpkin, and you can only sleep 9 hours a day. Fuwan picked up the spittoon by her feet and splashed it at them. Don't you dare call her a country bumpkin. You evil capitalists. I stood frozen in place, watching the puddle of dirty water spreading on the ground. This girl Fuwan is really bold. The Fu family clearly didn't expect this reception. Mrs. Fu screamed and jumped away. Mr. Fu. His face turned livid. Only he managed to maintain a stiff smile, though he couldn't quite hold it anymore. Wan. Get lost! Fuwan's voice wasn't loud, but it carried a resoluteness I had never heard before. She stood in front of me. Her petite back was perfectly straight, forming a jarring contrast with the jewel-adorned family of 3 opposite her. You raised me for 20 years. And I played the perfect doll to your satisfaction for 20 years. Now that your biological daughter is back and I'm useless, you threw me out like a piece of trash. Her voice was trembling, but every word was clear. At -10 degrees, I was thrown onto the street wearing a short skirt. Did you ever consider whether I would freeze to death? Mrs. Fu's face turned pale, and she subconsciously looked away. Mr. Fu tried to speak but was glared back by Fuwan. You're coming to look for me now. Is it truly because you want me back? No, it's because your extravagance burned through all your coal. You found out I have supplies here, and suddenly remembered that I, your daughter, still have some use. Mr. Fu's smile finally broke down completely. Wan. You misunderstood. How could Dad? You are not my dad. Fuwan interrupted him. Her voice suddenly softened. My real family is the person who made sure I wore warm clothes in the dead of winter, who gave me her hot meals and went hungry herself, who patiently taught me how to start a fire and cook, without ever despising me for being clumsy. She is the one who, even knowing I was the fake daughter despised by everyone, never thought about abandoning me. My eyes suddenly felt a bit hot. This silly girl is usually too embarrassed to even say thank you. Why is she getting so sentimental today? So, Fuwan took a deep breath. Please leave. The coal here, the food here, the warmth here, has absolutely nothing to do with you. She turned and walked back to my side, taking my hand. Her hand was very cold and trembling slightly. I knew she wasn't as strong as she appeared on the surface. After all, those were the people she called Mom and Dad for 20 years. Wait a minute. I pulled out the novel I was just reading from behind my back. Fuwan's eyes widened. I took out the recording pen tucked inside the novel. Sorry. I recorded that whole family reunion drama just now. And keywords like using coal to make amends and wasted all your reserves. Everything is recorded clearly, although the law doesn't matter much in the apocalypse once the weather improves. These recordings and notes should be enough to give you a massive headache. After all, if the citizens found out that the richest man's family wasted their own resources and tried to rob commoners. Mr. Fu's face changed completely. He gritted his teeth. Who the hell do you think you are? Daring to threaten us. Who I am isn't important. What's important is. Do you want to leave with some dignity now? The air froze for a few seconds. Mr. Fu gave Fuwan a deep look, turned and walked away. Mrs. Fu followed right behind him. Without looking back, before leaving, Mr. Fu glared at us viciously. You just wait. You won't last long in this damn weather. As soon as the door closed, Fuwan finally couldn't hold it anymore. Her legs gave out and she almost knelt on the ground. I held her up. Teasingly, I said, where did all that aura go? I almost thought you would hand me over. How could I? Didn't we agree? I'll never chase you away. You're patting my head again. She bristled, but didn't dodge. After being quiet for a while, Yanyan, the things written in your notebook. About how to take care of me, how to teach me to survive. And how to make me not feel like a burden. My old face flushed. You peeked. I didn't mean to. That night you fell asleep and the notebook dropped on the floor. I was just helping you pick it up. And accidentally saw it. No wonder she seemed like a changed person after that. It wasn't a sudden enlightenment, it was her silently working hard. So that's why you took the initiative to learn cooking and sewing. And dealing with the neighbors, she gave a muffled I didn't want you to feel like you picked up a burden. I reached out and pulled her into my arms. This silly girl, obviously raised in the richest man's family. Why is she acting like such a pitiful little thing? You were never a burden. Outside the window, the north wind howled. The temperature was still dropping, but the room was toasty warm. Corn was roasting on the heated brick bed. The air was filled with a sweet aroma. That winter was very long. So long that it felt like it would never end. But we had enough coal, enough food, and each other. Later, the grandpa next door would occasionally come by, bringing some homemade pickled cabbage to trade for a bowl of hot soup. He said it was getting more and more chaotic outside, with people robbing supplies everywhere. Only our place felt like a paradise isolated from the world. Hearing this, Fuwan was especially proud, saying it was due to her excellent management. I couldn't be bothered to expose her. It was obviously because our cold-proofing measures were good. When spring finally arrived, the temperature warmed up to -20 degrees. Good news came from the radio. The extreme cold weather was coming to an end, and order was beginning to be restored everywhere. Hearing the news, Fuwan froze for a long time. Then she suddenly hugged me, crying a river. What are you doing? I was suffocated by her grip. We survived, we survived, we survived together. Of course, there were also the millions in predatory loans I took out. Later, when it was time to pay the money back, my heart ached for a long time. Fuwan gloated beside me. That's what you get for being so fierce to me before. I backhanded her with a knock on the head. You owe me money too, Mrs. She wilted. Didn't you say I didn't have to pay it back? I said I wouldn't chase you away. Who said you didn't have to pay the money back? Wu Qian. You profiteer. The sunlight spilled through the window onto her face, flushed with anger. I smiled. This deal. No matter how I calculated, it wasn't a loss. And that fake daughter who only knew how to wear short skirts and freeze on the road was currently squatting in the yard, roasting BBQ. Yanyan, come eat. Smells so good. Did you even marinate the meat? Before I could finish, a puff of black smoke hit my face. I wiped my face. This life is really not bad.